She said the baby wasn't mine, but he was born with my eyes. I never imagined my life could break this way. The day she told me the baby wasn't mine, everything shifted. My name is Thomas, I'm 68 and I've lived in this small town all my life. I thought I understood my family, until this happened. My home had always been my sanctuary, a place filled with warmth, old photographs and the steady rhythm of everyday life. My wife Lila had always been calm, composed and loving. We'd spent decades together raising children, tending a garden and sharing quiet dinners. Life was predictable, comforting, safe. Then came the child. The newest member of our family, innocent, tiny and perfect, or so I thought. At first the joy was overwhelming. I watched his small hands curl around mine, listened to his soft cries, felt the weight of him against my chest. And yet, a shadow crept in almost immediately. Lila's tone had changed subtly, her laughter quieter, eyes avoiding mine when I spoke about the baby. One evening she turned to me and said the words I could never forget. "Thomas, he isn't yours." The walls seemed to close in. I felt a hollow ache in my chest. My heart, once confident, was suddenly riddled with doubt. How could she say this? That child, with my eyes, my nose, the curve of my jaw, how could it not be mine? And so my journey into suspicion, fear, and uncovering the truth began. I stared at him in the crib, every tiny feature screaming truth, yet a shadow of doubt had been planted. The first crack in my world appeared slowly, almost imperceptibly. Lila began leaving the room when I entered, whispering hurried explanations for mundane things. The baby monitor, once a source of comfort, became a tool of torment. I would sit late at night staring at the flickering screen and watch him sleep. Those eyes, they were mine. No one could deny it. But Lila's words had been clear, deliberate, and cruel. She repeated them when questioned, her voice steady but distant. "Thomas, he isn't yours." I began noticing patterns. Packages were left at our doorstep for her alone. Texts that she quickly deleted when I walked by. Phone calls whispered in corners, cut short the moment I appeared. My gut twisted with a storm of disbelief. Every instinct screamed that something was wrong. And then came the letters. Hidden beneath a stack of old baby blankets in the nursery, I found a folded piece of paper with a note written in shaky handwriting. "I don't know how to say this. You have to protect yourself. Don't question what you see. Trust nothing." I held it in my trembling hands, the ink smudged as if touched by tears. Who had written this? And why was Lila so afraid? The days that followed were a blur of whispered conversations, cryptic messages and silent tension. Every glance from Lila carried a hint of fear. Every interaction with the baby filled me with both love and suspicion. I felt like a detective in my own home, tracing invisible lines between clues that didn't quite fit. I discovered messages she had carefully hidden on her phone. Names I didn't recognize. Vague warnings. "He'll ruin everything. Keep him away at all costs. Don't let him see the baby alone." The confusion gnawed at me. Who are these people? And why were they targeting our family? The walls of my once safe home had turned into a labyrinth of secrets and half-truths. One night, as rain streaked the windows and shadows danced across the nursery, I saw it. A reflection in the baby monitor. The child blinked and I froze. His eyes, the exact shade, the same shape as mine, stared back at me. Every doubt I had been fed, every whispered lie, shattered in that single perfect moment. I knew he was mine, but Lila's insistence remained. Why would she deny it? And what had caused this rift in our trust? I could no longer endure the tension. One evening, the rain hammering against the roof, I stepped into the dimly lit living room. Lila was cradling the baby, rocking him gently. Her back was to me. My voice trembled, thick with emotion. He's mine, Lila. He has my eyes. How can you say he isn't mine? She flinched, shoulders tightening. She did not answer. I stepped closer, tears threatening to spill. Why? Why would you say this? Her lips parted, hesitated, then quivered. I can't. It's complicated, she whispered. Her gaze fell to the floor. Her hands shook. I wanted answers. I needed the truth. Thomas, I deserve the truth. This child, he's mine. Tell me why you're doing this. Her silence pressed down like a heavy fog. Then, in a small, almost inaudible voice, she admitted, someone told me things about you, about us. Lies. Threats. I didn't know what to believe. But I thought I was protecting him. Lies. Threats. Who would manipulate her and why? My heart raced as I realized the full extent of the deceit surrounding our family. The truth emerged slowly, painfully. A distant cousin, bitter and jealous, had manipulated Lila, planting false doubts, feeding fears, whispering that I could not be trusted. She had been coerced into believing the baby wasn't mine. Every lie, every denial, every moment of suspicion had been the product of someone else's envy and malice. Lila had acted out of fear, not betrayal. And yet, for weeks, the weight of doubt had almost torn our family apart. I examined the baby again, tracing the curve of his nose, the delicate arch of his eyebrows, and then his eyes, a perfect mirror of my own. Every feature confirmed the truth. He was mine, my son. The betrayal was not hers. It had been engineered carefully and maliciously. And as the realization sank in, I understood the immense strain she had carried silently. Fear, guilt, manipulation. The complexity of human emotion and family ties had created a storm we barely survived. I had my son, the truth and clarity, but could trust ever fully return after such a deception? Alone in my study, I stared at the rain outside the window. My mind spun with memories, emotions, and regrets. I had doubted the woman I had loved for decades. I had questioned the child I had longed to hold, feared losing even before understanding the full story. Tears fell freely, blurring my vision. The storm outside mirrored the turmoil within. I questioned every interaction, every word, every gesture. Had I misjudged her? Misjudged myself? And yet, amidst the grief, there was relief. Relief that my son was mine. Relief that Lila had acted out of fear, not malice. Relief that the manipulation had been uncovered before it caused irreparable damage. I whispered to myself, forgiveness. It will take time. Trust. It will take patience. Days passed. Conversations were long, gentle, filled with apologies, explanations, and tears. Lila and I rebuilt the fragile threads of trust that had been stretched almost to breaking. Evelyn, our child, became the living symbol of honesty, love, and resilience. We learned that fear and manipulation could warp perception, but love, patience, and truth could mend it. I held my son, feeling the small weight of his head on my chest, listening to his breaths, marveling at the striking resemblance. His eyes, my eyes, reflected the journey we had survived. I learned something crucial. Trust is delicate. Love is resilient. And even in the midst of lies and deceit, truth will eventually shine through. Be careful who you trust, I whispered, stroking his tiny hand. Even the ones closest to your heart can be influenced by shadows you cannot see. And yet, in the end, we were together. Family, fractured, tested, and healed by revelation.